Hey guys, long time no see. Yeah, well, guess what? Today's opening day of pool season, which means we're going to take the cover off this thing. We're going to see how bad it is, and we're going to get everything started up for the season. Well, at least started. I doubt we'll be swimming in it anytime soon, even though we've got a heater. It is a little chilly out this time of year, more so than last year. So it is currently April 30th. Tomorrow's May 1st. And I opened up the pool last year, a month beforehand, almost exactly. So it has actually been very cold. But we're going to get it started up because I'm hoping the weather's going to stabilize here soon. And in the next few weeks, we can fire the heater up at the very least and start taking a dip. But for today, my goals are to get the cover off the pool, get the pool cleaned out, get the pump started back up. Shouldn't be that difficult, and then we'll start balancing chemicals and we'll see what happens. But being a saltwater pool and being the fact that I know for a fact that the water level is higher than when it was, and when I closed this thing last year, significantly higher, probably going to have to be a lot of chemical adding going on in the next couple days. So stick with me and we'll get through it. Well, it's fairly clear, all things considered. So we put Skipper in. He's going to start doing the dirty work for us, getting all those worms. Looks like he started right where most of them are. And churning the water up and getting it circulated while we get the pump going. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to pull our gizmos out and unplug our skimmers. And then we're going to take our elbows that I installed off, which also have a metric ton of RV antifreeze in their pool antifreeze. Then we're going to take those off, get the eyeball fittings back on, and we'll go over and take a look at the pump side of things. We got to put all the drain plugs back in, get the filter set back up because the filters are actually up in the shed. Get everything buttoned up, all the O-rings lubed, and then we'll be able to turn it on and start circulation. A lot of pollen, quite a bit of pollen, but otherwise no algae. So far so good. I actually don't know what the temperature is yet. We're going to find out in the very near future as soon as we boot the system up. And we're back in the old familiar spots. So, got the top of the pump, no, it's not right, Lou. Top of the filter taken off. And we are going to go ahead and get our filter cartridges set. It looks as though I still haven't put the drain plug back in there, so I got to put that back in. There that is. All my drain plugs for the filter are right there, so we're going to get them lubed up. I'm going to lube these O-rings with the appropriate grease, as well as a large O-ring around the center for the season. That should keep things coming on and off pretty easily. And I need to make sure that all the valves are open, which they are. So with that said, we are going to get this thing buttoned up, and then we will start priming the pump and getting it started. Now, we're not going to put in our salt cell yet. We've got the dummy cell in place because we're just going to balance the chemicals and filter a lot of stuff. So right now, I felt the water. It's freezing. So I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be a real big issue for getting algae just yet. But we're going to go ahead and at least start getting things balanced. So I will get this thing buttoned back up and put it back together. And we should start to see some bubbles coming out of there in the very near future. After that, we're going to go ahead and pressure wash the deck while that circulates for a while. And then after about an hour or so, we're going to do a water sample and see where we're at. It's actually pretty straightforward. So like I said, just to recap, we'll make sure all the valves are in the right spot. So we've got both returns open. And then lube the O-rings, put all the drain plugs back in place for the pump and the filter. And then for right now, I think we're just going to leave the heater covered up because honestly, we're not going to use it right now, and it is bypassed. So not a big deal. But hopefully in a couple weeks, we'll be able to use it. Right now, it's really just not that big of a deal. And truth be told, as I've said before, it restricts water flow pretty good. So we really don't need to deal with that right now. We want the maximum amount of filtration. But my guess is going to be is that once we start filtering this for a week or so, we're going to end up with a lot of junk in it. So I'm probably going to end up cleaning these filters out fairly frequently over the next couple weeks. One thing I did notice is just over the winter, we've actually started to develop some cracks in the tops of our filter cartridge housings. I mean, they're just kind of a rubber material, but they're drying out. So I think they're good for right now, but I am going to probably order another set. These things are a couple $100 a piece for the set of 4, not individually. But I want to have an extra set on standby just in case. So that's the plan for now. Go ahead and get booted up. Good sound. Looks like we got something sticking out of one of the returns. We'll get that in a minute. But look at that. She's running. I went ahead and stuck a hose into the pump, into the bin in the pump, and I filled it back up, and then I let a lot of that water run down into the returns and the skimmers. And she primed right up. Right now, it's getting a lot of air out of it because I don't think I've tightened all of those eyeball fittings just yet, but we're getting there. A lot of air in there we got to work on getting out because it's been in the lines for so long, but that'll work its way out. We can start filtering. Coming over here, we got to run it on the median setting, so about 2,000 RPM. And that's about 50 gallons a minute, so that should do us for now. But again, we still got some air in the lines. Let's go ahead and bleed our zinc anode. Get the water out of that, or rather the air out of that. Good. Money. Yeah, so looks like we're at a little above 50 gallons a minute. So pretty good, but you can still hear the air running through the system. It's going to take a little while to get all that out of there. We're going to bleed the filter. So we'll do that. Wait for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Filter's bled. Pump's running. So we got everything ready to go. Alright, so again, we're going to wait on the saltwater chlorinator, and we're going to wait on putting that cell back in because we want to circulate, figure out what the water chemistry is, and go from there. So probably in the next couple days I will put that in, maybe even in the next week. It's so cold. I'm about ready to boot up the program just to see what our water temperature is because I'm a little curious. And then we'll get a water sample after I pressure wash the deck here. And guess what? Swimming season has started. Or at least pool season has started. Yeah, look. See, look. All the air bubbles are almost already gone. Just got to pull whatever it is in the line. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's probably a little bit of Teflon tape from the elbows I had on there. So we'll pull that off and get it out of the way. But easy peasy. I think I am going to top it off a little bit. I like to keep it up at the upper part of that screw. And it's not exactly where I want it to be. So we'll top it off just to make sure. And a couple things that I have amassed over here. So one of the biggest things is this. So this is that metal free. If you watched any of my previous videos, especially the one about the saltwater chlorinator, you will know that the salt that I have, the Clorox salt, must have some iron in it. So I'm going to put this in there ahead of time, and that way that should keep the pool from starting to turn a little bit of a Earl Grey tea color. But otherwise, we've got a whole bunch of pH up, pH down. We've got calcium hardness increaser. I do have some chlorine stabilizer here. And a lot of pH down because we already are prepping for the season. We know we're going to need it based on the fact that we're running a saltwater chlorinator, and that pH is going to start to creep up on us. Some alkalinity increaser, and I got a whole bunch of other stuff from last year. We are going to chlorine shock this thing later tonight once the sun goes down so that we can keep the chlorine from burning off in the sun. And then probably tomorrow morning we will go ahead and we will put the solar cover on, which has been sitting over there for 6 months or so. So hopefully the mice haven't eaten it, but we'll find out. And again, we've got Skipper doing his job. Looks like he's done a pretty good job walking around here. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of manual cleaning with the pool vacuum, but not much. Specifically, yeah, look at that. Look at those things. That's gross. But it's to be expected. So I'll be back with you in a little bit. Pretty clean. Can't complain. So Skipper's once again doing his job. I actually swapped out to the high particle filter that goes in that thing so that we can get some of the silt out. And then eventually I will manually vacuum the pool, but it's not bad. I mean, at least all the worms are gone. But cleared up. I checked the chemicals again this morning after checking them last night, and initial chemical values were pretty good. The salinity is a little low, obviously, that's to be expected. But I've got another 3 bags of pool salt here, and I put 2 in last night, so we're at about 2,600 parts per millionth right now. I need another 3 or 4 bags, we'll see. But alkalinity's up to par now. pH was darn near perfect. I had raised it a couple points, and chlorine was like 7 because I put that liquid chlorine in there over the last month. here and there, put a couple bottles. So, and my free chlorine versus total chlorine was pretty much spot on, but that'll start to burn off over the next few days. I'm going to put the solar cover on in a bit after I put the pool salt in, but I want to make sure that the pool cleaner is done, because this is a more granular pool salt versus that Clorox stuff that's kind of powdered. So I really don't need that getting ground into the liner. She's actually wearing very well. I want to keep it that way. Otherwise, everything's good. You know, I mean, I got a lot of work to do out here, guys. We are embarking on a new patio project, so everything you see is going to go away at some point, whether it's going to be concrete or I'm actually probably going to take all this up just based on cost and put all new pavers down and extend it over past the second pergola, which is also still not done. I need to finish staining it. But otherwise, we're making some progress, and still got to put in air drainage in the back. So we've got a trench drain to put in, plastic trench drain there, and I actually bought one for over here as well, and the patio will come clean up to it and carry all the water away, and we shouldn't have any undermining issues, because I did have some undermining issues, but I've fixed it. That's why you see the straw down and grass seed, is because I had to fix a couple areas. And this was the area that settled over the winter, and that's where all the pool equipment runs. That's the original trench going back to the house. Kinda, for the most part. So it's settled, so we just raised it up with some dirt and trying to get some grass to grow. That's uphill battle. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for now. And if you have any questions, let me know. But I mean, this is a pretty straightforward pool opening. Hadn't had any issues last year, and then having the saltwater system makes it even easier. So we'll probably put that cell in probably in the next week or two. But for now, I mean, with the chlorine where it is, we can keep that going with a minimum of effort, just because the water's so cold. Right now, the water's 55 degrees. So it will start to warm up, and we're going to have to do a little bit more maintenance every week when that does happen. But right now, we're good to go. So as always, thanks for watching. You stay classy, and I will talk to you later.